Hi, welcome to Reddit Tea Time. My fiancé and I have been together for just over 3.5 years now. We got married last month. When I got engaged, I expressed my feelings about having an expensive wedding with my fiancé. I didn't want to. I didn't want to drain my savings that I'd worked so hard for. My goal was to buy us a house. Her parents asked me for a phone call. Her dad convinced me to pay for the wedding and he would pay me back. Fast forward to now. Wedding happened and he stiffed me. I want to completely cut her parents out of my life. I feel betrayed, stupid, gullible, etc. I spent $60,000 giving my fiancé her dream wedding because I was under the assumption I would be paid back. I even gave them updates throughout the engagement of how much we were spending on wedding things. Now I can't buy us a house and there's a lot of tension. I feel like they've completely screwed us over in regards to starting our life. My fiancée lost her job in January and has been out of work, so this hurts especially bad. Now I have debt instead of savings. What should I do? Am I being too harsh when I say I want nothing to do with her parents ever again? Also, this wasn't just a small amount of money. Now for some comments. What does your wife have to say about this? And no, I don't think you're being too harsh. The only real issue here is your wife's role in all of this. It seems very strange that she would agree to this plan given that her parents are flat out reneging on their commitment to cover the costs. Can you explain why you agreed to it? It doesn't make a lot of sense for you to pay and have them reimburse you when it would have been so easy for them to pay directly. OP said, "Wife is pretty devastated and doesn't quite know how to handle this. She's confused and hurt. Absolutely did not see this coming, as they've paid for things in full for her like college at a 4-year university. I agreed to it because they were essentially guilt-tripping and begging us to have a big wedding, even though I would have preferred to just get married on a beach somewhere. It didn't even enter my head the possibility of them doing this. Your in-laws are horrible for what they did to their own daughter. Yeah, you got screwed, but that's their kid, and they knew this would really hurt her and her marriage. Like, wow. What should you do? You should recognize who has power in this situation and who does not. You learned a very expensive lesson, but I find it most interesting that the person who has the power now is your wife. It's a question of leverage, because legally, it's quite possible you would have a very difficult and expensive and possibly fruitless road ahead of you if you attempted to sue. Not only that, but would your new wife support you through the process of taking legal action against her parents? Quite possibly not. However, your wife probably has more leverage than she realizes. Not sure if she's an only child, but the threat of never seeing her or getting to meet their potential grandchildren may be the only leverage you have for them to make good on their promise. But your wife has to be on board. My advice? If you have any hope of seeing that money, you need to bond together with your wife and attack this problem as a united team. If her parents don't want to pay to support their daughter's future, then they don't get to witness her future, celebrate with you, see those milestones, meet those children. No pictures with grandma and grandpa. No graduations, birthday parties, anniversaries. They got their one party, but no more. They get nothing until they make good on their promise. They can sit on their money like dragons and die alone. Or they could make good on their offer to give their daughter at least a wash. We forget that weddings used to be a way for a community to chip in for a new couple and get them the things they need to start a life together. They not only didn't make good on the offer to make you whole for this wedding, you're now starting a life in the hole. You need to make your wife see this, that paying for the wedding is the very least they could do. Paying you $60K today doesn't even give you a good start. It simply makes you whole for this extravagant party they pushed you to pay for. I'm not even sure what to say honestly. I'll try to make it short though. My fiancé and I moved to a new city last summer. We're both in school and have jobs, so we haven't much time to get out and explore, let alone have time to make friends. A few weeks ago, I finally hung out with some classmates at the last day of our spring semester, which was nice because I'd started to get quite sad and lonely. I'd started to make friends and invited some to a picnic on Memorial Day. Everyone except one guy flaked. My classmate and I ended up hanging out for a while and then went to get drinks at a bar. We just talked a lot about our difficult upbringings and being a person of color in our scientific field and specific city. He told me a lot about his girlfriend as well, whom I've met before. Overall, it was the first time I felt like I had made a friend in the 10 months in our new city, which I value a lot because I have a difficult time making friends due to social anxiety and whatnot. All in all, I lost track of time and got home around 2 a.m. I wasn't drunk though. Mind you, my fiancé has my location at all times. I was less than 20 minutes from our place. He knew who I was with, and I called him 6 or 7 times the whole time I was gone, plus sent text updates as well. However, when I got home, my fiancé was furious and said if I ever stayed out that late again, he would leave me, and then he also gave me curfews to follow for the future. I apologized. I listened to his feelings and said it wouldn't happen again. But overall, I just can't help but feel weird about him giving me a curfew and an ultimatum. I don't and wouldn't do that to him. What should I do? What would you do if you were in my shoes? Edit. I do understand the whole not hanging out with a member of the opposite sex thing, and I can see why he would be uncomfortable. However, we both have completely platonic close friends that are members of the opposite sex. I have 2 close male friends. He has about 5 close female friends. So I didn't think that making a friend of the opposite sex would really be an issue at the time. Now for some comments. You're 22 years old. You have your whole adult life in front of you. I think you need a little more time and experience to help you identify what is normal or healthy and what is controlling or abusive. At the very least, you need to pump the brakes hard on this marriage until you know for certain that this is merely a brief and fixable F-up on his part, through actions, not words, and not a pattern of controlling behavior. Lots of red flags in the way you described your interactions. Why did you call him 6 or 7 times when you were expecting to be spending time with classmates? Did you feel like you had to based on past experiences? More than one call when you're out being sociable is weird absent some extenuating circumstances. 6 or 7 feels like an ankle bracelet. Do you always feel like you walk on eggshells to keep the peace? Are you always trying to keep the peace? It sounds to me like you communicated and kept him in the loop. Why was he so angry? Why does he think it's okay to give you a curfew and an ultimatum? Can you picture what your life would be like with him with these types of requirements? Honestly, you shouldn't marry a dude that freaks out and is this controlling. The fact that he has your location at all times and you called him 6 or 7 times already tells me more than I need to know. He's controlling AF. You had nothing to apologize to him for. The mask is slipping seeing as you're engaged. He almost has you locked down, so his true self is being revealed. You need to get away from him as quickly and safely as you can. My sister, 26 female, and I, 28 female, share a rented apartment together and have for almost 4 years. A little back information so that things make sense. We grew up with an abusive father. She mostly got the verbal and emotional abuse from him, and I got the physical and sexual abuse. We both went to therapy for years after. For me, it really helped, and I'm much better and happier now. For her, it hasn't helped as much, and she's still struggling. It doesn't help that she was assaulted 2 years ago by an intimate partner. My sister told me today that my boyfriend, 28 male, is not allowed to come to our apartment anymore. That I need to go to his apartment if I want to see him or spend time with him. I know she's uncomfortable with men she doesn't know, but she's only met him once since we planned it around her being away. I feel that this is really unfair since she can bring dates and friends over without any problem, but I have to follow a strict asking for permission and screening before I can have anyone over. She said it's because she doesn't know him, but when I suggested that she get to know him, she said she isn't interested. It's really frustrating. I know the best way would probably be to move out, but she can't afford anything on her own. I would also just be barely scraping by with how high rent prices are. I have taken care of her my whole life, and it really feels like this is the only thing she wants me around for. She's really supportive when I'm depressed, but unsupportive when I'm happy. I know it's more complicated than that, but it feels like she doesn't want me to be happy. I really don't know what to do. How do I save this situation or our relationship? Any advice or perspective is welcome. Update. A little more information first. We're both on the lease. I pay 70% of the bills and rent, and she pays 30%. We did it like that to match our income. I've been with my boyfriend for 5 months now. My boyfriend has never slept over at my place. I spend most of the time over at his with his 3 roommates, LOL. She has only met him once for 5 minutes. She came home as he was about to leave. I always planned around her and her being away since I know she's uncomfortable around men she doesn't know. I have a cat. I love my boyfriend, but I wish I could spend more time with both of them. I miss my cat when I'm gone every weekend. When it comes to the dating and friend thing, she has only had short-term relationships. They turn to burnout after a month or 2. She tells me before she brings anyone over, but she doesn't ask for permission. I have to ask at least a day before and she has to okay the person. I don't know why she only feels uncomfortable with people I choose. Thank you for all your advice and comments. I read them all. It really made me realize that I walk on eggshells around my sister, that I've always been overly protective of her to both of our detriment. Our relationship hasn't really changed from when we were kids and I try to protect her from our dad. It's toxic and we both need to grow. Now for some comments before the update. Give her a choice. Tell her that her hypocrisy is showing and she can get to know your boyfriend and forget her one-sided rules that she has no right to make in your shared space or the two of you can live separately. She sounds very unleveraged to be making such demands. Tell her the restrictions is for all guests, hers included. No guests or you move out. She has no leg to stand on. So, she can bring male dates and male friends over, but you can't bring your boyfriend over? That's complete BS. What you need to tell her is that either you get to bring your boyfriend over or she needs to stop bringing any men over to the house. You can say you don't feel comfortable with her BS. She sounds like a control freak. Just because a person had trauma doesn't give them the right to dictate what you can or can't do. Either way, you need to move out and find a new roommate. Let's get one thing straight here. It's your home too, and asking to have your boyfriend over would be a courtesy, not a requirement. You're allowed to have people over to your house, same as she is. Yes, I do think eventually moving out would be the best for both of you, but you don't need her permission to have your boyfriend visit your home. And now for the update. So I talked to her. I had a note with bullet points so that I wouldn't give in. I was gentle and told her how I feel, how it affects me and our relationship. I told her that I love her and will always be there for her, but I can't live like this anymore. I want to move on with my life. She told me that she doesn't want him around because of her trauma, but she also said that it made her jealous and depressed. She said that it isn't fair that I have someone that loves me, that she hasn't ever had anyone like that and it brings her down. She cried a lot, so we didn't get to communicate as much, but we both agreed that we'll end the lease and move out in 3 months. I don't know what her plan is, and I keep telling myself that it's not my responsibility. I'm looking at apartments. We'll talk to my boyfriend about this tomorrow. I haven't told him anything other than that she's uncomfortable around strangers. I guess I was afraid he would judge her, but he's a very supportive and compassionate person, and he should know what is happening in my life. Who knows? Maybe he'll want to move in with me. No matter what, I know I'll be fine. Thank you again for helping me get some perspective on the situation.
What do you think? Please let me know in the comments below. If you liked this story and you've made it this far, please consider subscribing. I really appreciate you spending your valuable time with me. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next Reddit story. In the meantime, please take care of yourself. Bye for now.